Are you guys ready for chaos?
Knowledge me. Knowledge me.
Tap it in.
So here comes your spiciest hot takes in metal, because I asked you guys on Discord and Twitter to give me your hot takes, and we're going to go over them right now to see how right or how wrong your hot takes are. So let's get it. That's enough chit chat. I hate using the term overproduced, since most production definitely is a stylistic thing, but I feel like a lot of modern metalcore is so overtouched up to the point where it's almost too perfect, too clean, and kills the life of the recording. Make Them Suffer's new record is one where I feel this is unfortunately super prominent, especially if you compare the original mix of Doom Switch to the album version. I actually just finished the podcast with the Metal Roundup where I was talking to Anthony from Resolve, the singer. And we were talking about production, and most bands are trying to get the best sound, the best vocal performance, trying to make sure everything sounds right, the drums to hit, everything to sound so crystal clear and perfect.
But the more you produce something, the higher the quality could be, but the further you get away from the raw human input.
Yeah,
and so that
everything is clean and big, but you're losing a lot.
Prefer raw. Just raw dog it, bro. Just raw dog it. Gooseman on Discord says metal bands are using breakdowns in their songs basically as fan service. They write a rock song but chuck a breakdown in just to call it metal to appeal to a larger audience, and honestly sounds super disjointed and pandering. This is another thing I've been seeing a lot. This is something I've commented about. Even the last hot takes video, I said the same thing, that people are wanting less breakdowns, more guitar solos, more instrumental sections. I see it all the time in comments. People are just not getting blown away by these breakdowns. And I think people are wanting something that is a little bit more, has more substance, right? A breakdown can feel almost like a cop-out. Although sometimes the breakdowns can be the best part of the song. But I think, yeah, there's a craving for something more than just a heavy section, especially when it happens in the bridge. So Jonathan, super nice guy, he says he 100% agrees with me. So what I said, I made my own hot take, which wasn't really that spicy of a take. 7 and 8 string guitars are making metal sound uninspired. Most modern guitars focus on the low end, therefore there's a huge absence in melody in modern metal. It's funny that I tweeted that out the other day, and then today we got a new Architect song, and one of the highlights in that new song was the guitar solo. How many times does Architects write a guitar solo? Barely any. And that was such a refreshing moment then, rather than just focusing on the zeros and the low gutturals. So Jonathan says he 100% agrees with me. There's always a time and place for low-tuned guitars in metal music, but what happened to all the guitar solos? See? Yes, I know there are some in today's metal music, but I really miss the early 2000s sound. I grew up with bands like As I Lay Dying, Killswitch Engage, Trivium, and all the bands of that era. I miss the beautiful melodies metal music had back then. Not even guitar solos, but I talked about sweeps. Bring back guitar sweep. Bands were just doing random sweeps all the time. It was almost like, it was actually kind of cliche to do it. It's just like, oh, here comes some more arpeggios. But now, since it's almost like absent in a lot of core music, I'm personally craving a lot of sweeps. I'm personally just craving instrumental sections. A bridge where it's like a riff down instead of a breakdown is something that just sounds so cool. You can still groove to it, but it doesn't have to be the most filthy, disgusting thing ever. I think people are getting tired of breakdowns and, yeah, wanting more guitar solos. Hot take threads are a good way to get people arguing in the comments, but I'll bite. Yeah. People fight over the most trivial things. Too many people think if you listen to metal, then it's all you listen to and it has to be your whole personality. It's washed. That's not too much of a hot take. For me, I never really connected with the whole metal look. Like, sure, I have the long hair, I have a nose ring. I used to have spacers back in the day too, but I don't know. I don't have too many tattoos. Like, I don't want to really even look like a metalhead. Look, I'm wearing a fucking Costco sweater right now. So I don't really make it my personality either, even though I love the music. I think some people don't really have connections to certain things and they might feel like outsiders. So when they find a niche music like metal and a community within it, I think they latch onto that. And I think that's where they kind of follow the looks of metal and the etiquette of metal in the community. So it's something that just people gravitate towards. I think that's the reason why people do it. I never really did that too much. I say that, but then I used to look like a really lame emo kid back in the day where I had straight hair and little blonde patch and everything. Oh God. Do I show a photo when I actually post this on YouTube? It's really cringe. So maybe, but yeah, now I could care less. Just give me Costco branded clothes and I'm good, bro. And I'm good. Though I do have the Cannibal Corpse and Meshuggah merch. I don't wear a lot of band merch. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I don't wear band merch, and it's mainly because it's not comfortable. If band merch was like high quality, nice fits, like premium, that sounds really douchey. Premium clothing. She takes premium.
She needs premium, dude. Premium.
Although some bands make some awesome merch, it's more just the quality and the fits I just don't like. The scene is a dumpster fire of infighting and people forgetting they're talking to other people. Like what you like. Don't attack people because they like something you don't. Yes, there are bands I hate, but I don't think it's right to go attack the people I know who like them. You dropped your crown, Kane. Yes, this is one of my least favorite things about the scene. I think people are so fixated on the bands that they love, and it's like part of their identity that they can't have civil conversations, especially online. Metal is a niche genre where we kind of gravitate towards an online world because we don't have people in like the real world to talk to about this stuff. It's kind of strangers. We don't know who we're talking to, and because of it, we're all strangers, and that's where it gets really combative. But that's also one of the biggest problems in metal for me. The scene is incredibly toxic with people just fighting about this band sucks and you're an idiot for liking this band kind of thing. I really do not like certain communities, especially on Twitter. I think Twitter is the worst for it. But it also can be a really good place to talk about music too, but you have to find that community. So I'm going to plug my Discord. I think Discord and you guys in the chat are awesome because we can talk about music. We have a hot takes channel. This is obviously where I'm pulling a lot of this hot takes from, is from my own Discord. We kind of know each other, right? The point is, like, yeah, we're not really strangers. So I think that's why we get along and can talk about music and agree to disagree. But when it's Twitter, YouTube comments or whatever, it is so toxic, man. It's again, one of my least favorite things about the scene is how the infighting and people forgetting they're talking to other people. 100%. All right, newer bands do not apply to this hot take. Not that it is one, because I've seen that more people are finally agreeing with me. If your band has been around at least a few years or more, you shouldn't have to drop single after single to promote your upcoming record. If you have the fan base, you shouldn't have to keep releasing music to keep them pleased. You're not getting me excited for a record. You're only making me less interested in everything you do moving forward. It's a good point, and it's funny because, like, again, I was literally on a podcast with Anthony from Resolve, and we were asking him this question about the waterfall strategy. Waterfall strategy is just releasing a single, I don't know, every month, pretty much, or not every month, maybe like even every 2 or 3 weeks, and pretty much majority of the record's already been out. It works though, and even if you're established, the bands are looking at their numbers. They're looking at what they need to do. One that comes to mind is Memphis May Fire. Memphis May Fire is pretty much dropping their entire record before it's released. It's weird because Memphis May Fire is a band that's already well established. Why would they need to do that? Well, I'm sure they're looking at their numbers and what they need to do to keep people interested in the band. Those Spotify listens are extremely important. Yes, it hurts people like listening to the album. It makes people less interested. It makes people annoyed. Totally. But the payoff is bringing those new fans. And I think it works. Like saying that they don't need to do it is because they're already established. If I can think of an analogy over here that's not metal, it's like Coca-Cola. They don't need, everyone knows who Coca-Cola is. Like they're one of the biggest soft drink manufacturers in the world. Why do they need to advertise still? It's still really competitive. I know, weird ass analogy, but it's kind of the same thing with bands. Although Memphis May Fire is already established, there's so many other bands, and I think it's just a way to compete. It's definitely competition. It's healthy competition, but it's ways for bands to really get their music out there. Make Them Suffer album fell flat. Yep. The alt album hurt my enjoyment from it because I heard majority of the record. So I agree with Sam. However, I can't fault the band when it's just the way that people's listening habits are. That's the thing. I can't really fault the band for this when it's the fans and consumers, and this is their behavior. This is how they consume music today. the bands just have to follow suit. So it kind of sucks, but that's how it works. Here's a hot take. This place will become your tomb over every other Sleep Token album. Yeah, that actually is a hot take. It's my least favorite record, but I think the people who really like that record really like it. It's something more melancholic. It's a little bit more slow. It's something ambient that people just kind of jive with a little bit. So yeah, I like the other albums more, but if you like that album more, cool. See, this is the whole point. We can agree to disagree, like the other guy's hot take. No need to fight and go like, you're an idiot. You like this place will become your tomb more? Ugh, idiot. Music award shows don't matter. I have never met a person who got into a band or artist because, oh, I have heard their name on the Grammys, bro. Well, I agree and disagree with this. I think award shows are extremely important. Maybe not in music, because the Grammys are a joke. In music, it doesn't make sense because I think music is one of the most, if not the most subjective art form or pieces of media, because there's so many bands, there's so many genres, there's so many musicians that how can you determine what's the best of the best? It's a very subjective thing. So the Grammys is just a popularity contest. It's just whatever is the most popular. That's how it justifies this is the best because this is the most people listening to it. But awards, I think, are still important to validate people for their hard work and their accomplishments. We can look at a different art form like movies and film and the Oscars. I think Oscars, although I don't really watch the Oscars anymore, I think they've gone less important over the years, but I still like the idea of them. I still like what they do is highlight the best films. And when they do, there's only so many movies. There's a lot of indie flicks, but there's also so many big movies that they really feel like they're kind of honing on what is the best of the best. So I think award shows are extremely important. Okay, I realize he said music award shows don't matter, which yes, I agree with that. Enunciation in screams is more important than your lows and highs. Sounding cool is great and all, but being able to understand the lyrics is more important. Ooh. I'm gonna get roasted in the comments. Nah, I agree. I think the vocal gymnastics is a little bit played out, although I do enjoy it just because I get shocked by the sounds. Like the Will Ramos, like To the Hellfire, I still think it is a cool breakdown today. However, there's one record where the enunciation in the screams is so iconic. You hear every word that the screamer is saying. It feels so passionate, but his range is so good. Under Oath, Define the Great Line. Spencer Chamberlain's performance on that record is still one of my favorite vocal performances I've ever heard. His delivery and his enunciation is what makes the record. You literally hear the syllables and his delivery, and again, the range. He does the lows, the highs, the shouts, and the singing, and the everything in between. So I totally agree. When I hear a good enunciation, it really drives home the lyrics, because generally I don't really care for lyrics when it comes to most metal music. So when I can actually understand it and it's good lyrics too, oh, now we're talking. Hot take. Sleep Token is not metal. Calling Sleep Token metal would like calling Hardy metal because of that one song with Jeremy McKinnon. They have metal moments, but I don't think they are a metal band. Yeah, this is like an old hot take that people are all the time having. You know, I personally call Sleep Token a metal band, and I do the quotations because I get it. They're not really metal. To me, the band, when they do go metal, they go pretty fucking metal. You know, Vor, Gods, their breakdowns in the Offering and Higher and the Summoning. It's so prominent. When you look at other genres, like maybe just rock music, they don't go that heavy. I think the metal is such a determining factor that is so apparent. Although it's very rare when they go metal, just when they do, it's just so, again, prominent. Metalheads are gravitating towards it. You know, they do metal festivals. They're part of the metal alternative culture. Sleep Token, a reason why they blew up is because they're not pigeonholed to a certain sound. The only interview Vessel has ever done was talking about genres and not getting fixated on genres and labels. And that has been an amazing thing for them. I'm going to use movies and film as an analogy, but bands who diversify their sound with other genres are the bands that always break through. That's why nu metal was so huge in the 2000s. But then looking at film, when movies incorporate different genres into their film, that's something that stands out a little bit more than just being an action film or something. Like, one that comes to mind is Hereditary. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's a horror film, but it's more than just a horror film. It becomes like a drama, a thriller a little bit too, but it's also incredibly scary. So it is a horror movie, but it's got a lot of drama and some thriller moments in it too. Maybe a little bit of action, not really. No comedy. It's a very dark movie, but that movie ended up becoming one of the most beloved horror movies of all time. And it's a recent film too. So my point is, the bands who get fixated on labels are the bands who kind of just get lost in the pack. I think if you continue to incorporate different genres and be more open-minded to different sounds and elements, and not care about what others think and don't give a fuck about what others think, is where you succeed. Where Sleep Token blew up, Bad Omens, when they dropped the Metalcore Sumerian record stuff, they're still in Sumerian, but when the Death of Peace of Mind, when they went a little bit more poppy and emotional, is when they blew up. I understand. There's a good video, Opal in the Sky. They're like content creators. You've probably seen their stuff. Two twins with long hair. They called Sleep Token progressing metal instead of progressive metal. I think it's a funny way of putting it, because they're kind of progressing and changing what progressive metal is, because they're not like Dream Theater. Oh, and speaking of Sleep Token's influences, most people don't know Sleep Token is heavily influenced by Periphery, Corellia, Animals as Leaders. You can find videos of Vessel playing that stuff. Vela Maya, his heart is in metal. It's more just in the progressive metal. Love me some progressive metal? Yeah. So Sleep Token, they're a progressing metal band. Covers are fun when done passionately, but are overdone by bands that lack in the songwriting category, and I think that makes people cringe when hearing the word covers. Pop Goes Punk was huge for the scene and was a huge gateway for new fans of metalcore. Yeah, it's great gateway music. I miss Punk Goes Pop, Punk Goes Acoustic, Punk Goes 80s, 90s, or whatever. Those records were great, man. The fact that we don't have it today is definitely something that's absent, and it's kind of weird how we don't have that today. But I think people who find it cringe are the annoying small minority of people who are loud online. Still doing hot takes. No. That was it. That was the last hot take. I need water, man.